Hello, everyone. I have another awesome quality story for my audience, so let's get into it. So I kept asking my parents for a a science kit type thing with like binoculars on it, so you could like it had two different types of things. It had like a science to it, like where you look at different types of things and stuff like that. It was really cool. There was then there was another one where you could look at the sky in morning and night. So so what I used to do is that in the morning time, like I guess when I mean morning, I mean when the I guess either daytime or like early in the morning, like 6 o'clock or so, I would look out and sometimes at nighttime I'd look at the stars, right? I'd look at the stars and everything and I'd look at it, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I always wanted to see a shooting star, but then one time I did see a shooting star, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then sometimes I like to look at birds. I like to look at creatures. I just like to watch. It's the coolest thing ever. Watch. My favorite bird is like a blue jays, and then I look at other birds, and I used to like look up the names after them, like look at the names, and then I used to know the type of birds, and it was really really cool. And then at nighttime, I would sit and look outside the window, and I look at like the stars and stuff, and the moon, and looking at all the stars, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing. I thought it was cool. But then I have like a science kit type thing where so I used to look at like bugs under the microscope. It was really cool, right? Look at bugs. Because there used to be like a bug kit I used to have. I used to look at things under the microscope. But when you look at things under the microscope, it looks really different. It actually looks scary. When you look at bugs under the microscope, and actually you can see it up close. You can see like their scales, and it looks really cool, but in the same way it looks kind of scary, right? You look at spiders, you look at it, it looks really different, right? You look at anything, it looks a little different. Then there was like a this other area, and it had like cells and stuff, and it had, I don't know, it had different things on it. And you look at them, they look kind of cool, the cells and stuff, it looked really cool. Things swimming around. Just like if you go to like a pond place where there's like creatures like fish, I don't know, all sorts of different types of creatures. You grab a little bit, you have a little thing, you dab it on, you look at it in the microscope, all the things you can see like swimming around. You can see all these different creatures and different things swimming around. It's really cool. It's really really cool. The things you can see with the microscope that you really, when you look at it with your eye, you can't see. It's the coolest thing ever. You know what I mean? Um, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Um, so I always look at different types of things. It was just like really cool. Um, and yeah, I thought it was the coolest thing. Um, I got it. I don't know. I think I either got it for Christmas or a birthday gift or something. But I ended up getting two of them because I had them at both parents. But it was really, really cool thing that I got, and I used to love it as a kid. I used to use it all the time. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I'd go back and forth. Sometimes I'd be sitting there just looking out at the sky, looking at the birds, just looking around, thinking it's cool. Maybe just looking around to see what's going on, right? Or I'd be looking at the scope. But I find the science scope was a little cooler, a little more intriguing. But at nighttime, then I find the scope a little more intriguing because you're looking at the stars and stuff. It's really cool. The moon and stuff like that. It is very peaceful, And, I look at different creatures, you know. You can look at all sorts of different things under the microscope. But obviously, they have to be small bugs. Like, a frog wouldn't fit under the microscope unless you have a huge microscope, you know what I mean? Like, only certain bugs would, and, people don't want bugs in their house. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, you know, Look at little things, I'd find little things and look at it under the microscope. It'd be the coolest thing ever. You know, so yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, and I was very happy with it, stuff like that. Just like I used to have a fish tank in my room and plants and stuff, and I had a little idea, so I ended up getting scissors, cutting a little bit, looking at the microscope. Looking at plants under the microscope is really really cool. Looking at the fish water under the microscope, It didn't look too bad. There was a little bit of things swimming around, but it wasn't too bad because I keep it clean. I clean the tank. I take care of it. There's a filter. I clean up the filter. Type thing. So it gets well taken care of. Like the water was pretty clean. I would never drink it though, because but it's pretty cool. And sometimes I would even bring it outside. And look around. I even bring my microscope and I'd be in the backyard looking around. Or, on rainy days, I just sit there and watch it. The best time is I love watching it. Sometimes I just sit there when it's raining out the window and like watch the nature and just watch the rain. I find it so peaceful and calm and so cool. It's just the coolest thing ever. I find it so peaceful, watching it rain, watching it snow. Just the sound of it so peaceful. It's like the coolest thing ever. I used to do that too. And then like, after it rains, you could pick up worms and stuff. I think that's pretty cool too. You can look at worms under the microscope. They look pretty cool under the microscope. Stuff like that. It's pretty cool. You look outside, you can see like frogs jumping around. You can see worms. You see nature all alive. Sometimes the weather gets kind of hotter outside after rain. Sometimes it gets cooler, depending. It was pretty cool. Things like that. Stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Things that I used to do. Stuff like that. It was, so yeah, that was pretty cool as a child. Stuff I was into. I was always a big fan of science. I always thought it was cool learning science, learning different things, just learning about cells, how humans are cells, just learning about things, looking at things, all that stuff, doing research and stuff. I always thought it was cool, even though my reading and writing wasn't very good. It was weak, but it was good enough to. But even if you're not good at things, you can still, if you really want to learn, you'll really learn things. I've learned things, like plants. They grow. You can cut them, but they regrow. They eat. Like plants find their own food, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Nature takes care of itself, stuff like that. I hope my audience can relate to my story in some sort of way. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. And I will see you tomorrow with another awesome quality story. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a good day and goodbye.